Hi, I'm Roxanne Garcia with News Talk 710 KURV, and joining me is Jonathan Carranza. He is running for Mcallen mayor. Thank you for being with us, Jonathan. We appreciate it. I first want to get to know you a little bit more. Tell us about yourself, your background, and all that kind of good stuff.
Well, I grew up here in Mcallen, over on Ware Road and Lark. So I went to school here. My kids are going to school here. I have 4 kids. I'm married. I did about 3.5 years in the Army, one combat tour in Afghanistan, and I got a medical discharge. So I get a VA disability now. So kind of a stay-at-home dad / student. But I kind of always wanted to. I was always interested in politics. At first I kind of joked about wanting to run for something at some point, and this was before the Army. And then when I was in the Army, I kind of realized how much politicians affect your daily life. I was like, maybe I should actually do something. I think I can make a difference in my my libertarian values and family values. I think I can bring something good to my hometown. And of course, I thought this was going to be about 20 years into being in the Army. I planned on going career. I didn't plan on getting injured. But, who does really? But, so, I got out, started going back to school, and I realized, hey, you know what, I can get started on this now. I'm young. It's time for someone young to take control of things in government. We have all these older people. They're typically from very wealthy families, and I'm not that. I'm young. I'm born and raised in the lower middle class here in Mcallen, just like everyone else, and I think that'll work to my advantage.
So you mentioned earlier about politicians, and you do have names like Othel Brand Jr., you have names like Jim Darling, who's the current mayor right now. When you have big names like that, how can you convince people to vote for you who may not know who you are?
Well, it starts with stuff like this, and media coverage is obviously pretty important. I think I'm running on a message, and the message is more freedom. Less property tax. I do not like the fact that we use property tax to fund stuff in the city. But I think people can see someone like me and see that I'm coming from the middle class, and I've not been in politics, and I've not been raised to do this essentially, and they can look past those big names and see that I'm probably a good choice other than them. But then again, you also have that group of people that's just kind of fed up with only having 2 choices, and they're really looking for a third choice. And I'm that.
You mentioned that you haven't ran for public office. This is your first kiss at the pigs, like people like to say it. What convinced you to decide to run, and of all things, mayor of Mcallen?
Well, like I said, I decided I was gonna go into politics when I was in the Army. I didn't think it would be this soon again, but I joined the Libertarian Party. I'm a dues paid member of the Libertarian Party, and I applied for their candidacy thing. And originally, I was kind of intending on going for sheriff. And then I was kind of realized, I don't want all that comes along with being sheriff. I just thought that would be a fun place to start and get some experience, and then go on to other things after that. But I sent in my packet, and they sent me an email asking if I was interested in local candidacy, and so I looked at what they sent me. They sent me a packet for mayor, and I looked into it and thought about it for a couple weeks, and was like, you know what, that I think that's a good place to start. I can do a lot to help the city, and with bringing libertarian viewpoint to government on the local level, I think is an important place for the liberty movement to go.
I'm sure we have a lot of listeners and viewers out there that are wondering, okay, Mr. Carranza has never held public office. He's young, he's a fresh face. But I'm sure people, like I also want to know, what skill set would you bring? You were in the Army before, you're a veteran. So talk about your skill sets. What skill sets would you bring to Mcallen Mayor?
Well, I, for one, Army experience, you deal with a lot with bureaucracy, going through all the checking boxes and all that stuff. So that part of the skill set's there. And I think, honestly, the fact that I've never done something like this is a good reason to vote for me, because you have these people who are going to, I'm not just talking about in this race, but in general, people are going for the ones with experience in politics, in government, and I think if you go with the people with experience in government, you're going to get the exact same thing. And for the people who are tired of the same thing, you don't want someone with that experience. You want someone that's going to go at things from a different perspective. I have around 130 college credits over at South Texas College, varying different things from philosophy, biology, even a lot of welding. I like welding. It's pretty fun. But, I think just collective experience, I think, is what's going to give me an edge on that.
Sweet. Now, we're talking about Mcallen. You are running for Mcallen Mayor. Tell us a couple things, or one or two, it doesn't matter how many, things that you love about the city of Mcallen.
Oh, wow. Well, I grew up here, so I love that. The school district is a pretty good school district. I think comparatively to many of the others here in the valley. Believe it or not, I love the weather. I did my 3.5 years in the Army. I was stationed at while I wasn't in Afghanistan, I was stationed at Fort Lewis. And it is cold and wet all year long. And coming back to warm and humid, but warm is nice. I like the proximity to the river. I do a lot of. I like to go off-roading. Both my trucks are broken right now. You get what you pay for. But I like to go off-roading down by the river. I go camping by the river. I like to. Believe it or not, I even swam in the river. It's actually fairly clean. It's clean enough to swim in. But I think the river is one of the things that I like, and also proximity to the beach. I love going to the beach.
That's awesome.
There's also a lot of cultural things to see here. There's a good a music scene downtown. Downtown's being renovated, and it's got some historic buildings, and just basically just. The whole package that is Mcallen, I like.
It's kind of hard to pinpoint one thing, right? When you're born and raised here. Okay, so we mentioned things that you like about Mcallen. Now, what are some things that you don't like about the city of Mcallen, or that you would like to change if you became mayor?
Well, high property tax is one, and I've heard that from a lot of people as well. When you think about property tax, you really what you're doing is you're paying a rent on your property, and as soon as you stop paying that rent to the government, they evict you from your property. Even if you've bought and paid for it, you have a deed and it's yours. Well, it's not really yours. So I see that as theft. They've stolen your property. Regardless if you're actually still paying on the tax or not, the property isn't really yours. Regulations on business and building codes and that kind of thing. The city of Mcallen micromanages way too much, and it makes it difficult for any local, citizen to buy a piece of land, develop it, and open, say, a restaurant or whatever they want to open. It makes it very difficult for them to do that, and very needlessly expensive. And then the city comes and micromanages how they have to do things. And to me, I would like to get rid of all those codes and regulations and permits and fees that are micromanaging. They're anti-business, and as long as they're not directly related to safety. Protection of consumer safety and property rights are a big thing that I'm for. another thing that I don't like, we don't have a zoo in Mcallen. You know, we have to go all the way to Brownsville to get to go see a zoo. My kids love going to the zoo, but I don't like to drive all that way every time we have to go. And I think that would really benefit our city tremendously.
Where would you put the zoo?
Well, see, that can be a problem. I mean, they've already taken the Tres Lagos area away. I mean, you could put it. There's that reservoir that they're trying to get rid of over on Bicentennial and the freeway. That'd be a good spot. A good place to start looking, anyway.
A zoo would be pretty cool. Not gonna lie, Jonathan. So, besides all those things, anything else you'd like to change, or are those two pretty much the two big ones?
Well, property tax and business regulations are some of the bigger ones. I'd like to see less medians. I don't know why we started doing all these weird medians in the roads. I think especially the one on Ware Road, it really hurt all those little businesses, the strip malls that are right there in between 3 Mile and 2 Mile. And I think if we didn't build that median, that area would be a better business center. There'd be a whole lot more small shops and stuff like that.
Now, I have to ask you this just because we've asked the other two men running for Mcallen mayor. What does Mcallen need to prioritize spending money on, or is Mcallen properly spending its money?
I think we're spending too much money. I think we should cut spending wherever we can, wherever it wouldn't hurt the essential functions of government. And in my opinion, there's 3 essential functions. It's the protection of people's right to life, liberty, and property. And that's it. If it doesn't involve that and it puts us in debt, we don't need to spend it.
Now, the other thing that we have to ask you, of course, is when it comes to the Mcallen Holiday Parade. Are you in favor of City Hall paying for another Christmas parade? And if you become mayor, what's your plan with that?
No. No. Simple answer, no. We shouldn't be paying for stuff like that. If the mayor's job is to be a diplomat, really. And as a mayor, I would be a diplomat, and I would reach out to organizers and stuff like that to bring bids to the table to put on a parade and other things to bring people in. Like I would like to do the same thing with a music festival. We should have a music festival that rivals South by Southwest up in Austin. We have a great music scene here, and it should be known across the country, but sadly it isn't. So I'd like to see organizers, especially from here, doing things like that, and it can be a way to profit themselves, or they can do it as a nonprofit to donate to whatever charity they like. But I mean, I don't think the city really needs to be involved in it, other than maybe getting the traffic lights out of the way or something.
Lastly, because we're almost out of time, Mr. Carranza, is there anything else that you want to let our viewers know? Why should they vote for you? Why are you the best pick for this job? Anything along those lines?
Well, I think, again, I got to say, I grew up just like the majority of people in Mcallen, and I think they can identify with me, and I can identify with them and their needs. And what they need is less property taxes and the government out of the way of creating their businesses. That's what we need to prosper. I mean, we're looking at possibly getting that 20% tariff passed, and that's going to kill a lot of trade across the border. We need to make up that for one, the sales tax income and the just the economy in general, by allowing our small business sector to just boom right now. And that's one thing that I'm going to bring to the table is getting our government out of the way of our own people. I think that's one of our biggest problems in Mcallen.
There you go. There you have it. Thank you so much. That's Jonathan Carranza, and he's asking for your vote this May to become Mcallen mayor. I'm Roxanne Garcia, and this is 710 KURV.